Heather, I'm interested in your take on this local food movement as well.
It's exciting. There are a number of chefs who've been cooking this way for a long time that I think it's, it's one of those things where we are excited. On Saturdays, there's a group of us who get up at 6 in the morning after a Friday night and, go to the farmer's market and fill a truck full of food. And we keep seeing more and more chefs show up and buy from the farmers, which is amazingly exciting. We had one of the farmers say, if all of you Cleveland chefs start coming and buying from me, I won't have enough for the customers. And I said to him, well, sweetie, is that the worst case scenario that you're out? And I was like, you're right. And for us, I say to the farmers, I say all the time is that, if during the farmer's market you can sell a quart of strawberries for $5 to a walk-up customer, I expect to pay that price because you're going to sell it. And if I want to prioritize buying it, I don't want you to give me a deal. I want to pay, and I want to pave the way. It's like next year, plant more strawberries, and we'll get more more restaurants to come in and buy. So it's an amazing, if we call it a movement or a way of being. I think that Clevelanders are wildly loyal people and creatures. So I think that with this city, I believe it'll become more a way of how we are as a community. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
It's been a dynamic to watch this whole thing sort of filter out in the marketplace. I'd like to shift the discussion on awareness, Matthew, and that is, why do you think Cleveland has all of a sudden become a center of cuisine and the culinary arts? It's been fascinating to watch it on the Food Channel, where you see a lot of references to Cleveland, but also it's been on NPR, it's been on the national cable and television networks. Why? Why is this all happening to us?
It's really easy, actually. It's costs much less to open a restaurant as a chef in Cleveland than it does in New York City or any of these other places. So we've got all these great chefs that have been coming up and coming from other cities and coming up in our community that can actually afford to open a restaurant and have minimal backing and get it up and running. I mean, I think that's the base of it, and I think we've always had a bunch of good restaurants around, and we're seeing those trees blossoming and all these young chefs coming out of those older trees, the Parkers and Karen Small and Doug Katz and all these guys. We're seeing all their proteges coming up opening restaurants, and it's really cool. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great time to be a chef in Cleveland and a restaurateur.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris and Jeremy, was Cleveland your first choice?
Yes, mine, for sure. And then we talked about it extensively.
I didn't think I was coming back to Cleveland. I didn't think I was coming back, and I was looking to do my own thing. And he called me, and my parents sat me down. They moved off to Pennsylvania to take a job, but my parents sat me down there like, the only place I've ever seen you happy is Cleveland. And I was like, you're kind of right. Okay. I was like, okay, so let's go to Cleveland. And with Cleveland launching the new food cart program, it's just taken too much time to get that up and running. And we're in full support of it, but we wanted to do something now. So I sold my Chevy Nova, and a guitar, some other stuff. And most of the things I had. And we bought a truck. And, Cleveland's been unbelievable to us. And it is home for me. And when I was 15, I always said I wanted to change the culinary scene in Cleveland. Michael Simon beat me to fine dining, so we had to figure something else out to do, and we couldn't be happier with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Michael, I'm curious on your take on our national prominence. I mean, it's like I said, you've got a lot of royalty here in the culinary side, so what's your opinion on that?
I think what's happening in Cleveland that's really boosting things is we're adding more variety to what we have here. We don't just have fine dining restaurants and chain restaurants and a few of those independent restaurants that you have to know about them to go to them. In the last couple of years, I mean, we have food carts now. We have gourmet burger restaurants, hot dog restaurants, taco restaurants, and neighborhoods they're starting, like other major cities, you have these pockets, these neighborhoods, and there's little restaurants opening up everywhere, and not just big 10,000 square foot chain restaurants opening up in shopping malls. We have lots of little places in different neighborhoods, so you can go out on a Friday night and go to 2 places, go to the same neighborhood on a Saturday night and go to 2 more places, and it's constantly exciting, move around the city, so many places to go. I don't think I've eaten at the same restaurant twice in Cleveland in the last couple months. It's kind of nice.
It's been a phenomenal trip. Last week, just as if I hit Happy Dog, Sushi Rock, Crop, Metro, Zinc, Saigon, and it's a wonder I'm not like 500 pounds, right? But it's just, you're right, this blossoming of different flavors and looks and feels of these restaurants has just been phenomenal. Heather, you got a take on that at all?
Yeah, it is exciting. We, because we were really blessed enough to be showcased on a Food Network show, we've gotten all these attention for people coming out of town and coming to our restaurant. And it's great because people will come in and they're going to stay in Cleveland for 2 or 3 days and look at other things. And I'm shocked because I find that people, they're not asking about where to find the chain restaurants. They're asking us, you know, the Cleveland food scene, where can you send me? And they want to find that small place. They want to be adventurous. And, you know, we're setting up what we call the dream list of restaurants where, you know, what do you want? I mean, we have it all. And we're not open at night, and so we can promote all these amazing chefs and what they're doing, and people will come back the next day and eat breakfast with us, and they say, oh my God, this is amazing, you know, I don't have this in my city. So I'm just proud to be a part of it. I mean, I owned a restaurant in New York City, I owned a restaurant in Seattle, and coming back to Cleveland, I really felt like I was going to be giving something up by being with near my family. But I was absolutely, positively wrong. I mean, you know, my career, I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Really good to hear. Let's move on to the next one, which is business. I mean, at the end of the day, you're very lucky in the fact that you're living your passion, but let's be honest, restaurant business is still business. So, you know, Michael, what are some of the hard facts and lessons you've learned in being in the business?
Other than the long hours and the time away from the family, no, I love the business. I wouldn't be in it if I didn't love it. We did see, you know, in '08 and '09, we saw a recession that hit Cleveland restaurants pretty hard. Some of the more pricier restaurants really took it the hardest. I think I speak for everyone sitting up here. We have popular price places, real casual places, and you know, it didn't really hurt the Cleveland dining scene too much. I think, you know, some restaurants actually even got busier during that time, and I think the restaurant business is great here, and I think we still have room to grow. There's still room for more additions here in the city of Cleveland. I think the city can handle a lot more restaurant business before it starts to hurt other restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch the restaurants really become like economic development for some of the neighborhoods. I mean, you look at Tremont. I mean, Tremont's just full of restaurants, and I think that scene kind of hit before everyone sort of moved in. It was a really unique juxtaposition there. And you're in Tremont, so talk about your experiences over there.
We did go through a very, very hard winter where, again, I'm going to talk about the loyalty creature that is Cleveland as a people. I didn't know it. I mean, we went through the winter where we were in trouble, and every week, every payroll had to decide whether or not we were going to be able to, you know, stay open, because it's important when you use small farms, you have to pay them. You can't like be out 90 days. You know, you deliver something, I'm paying you. So, you know, when you're not using big corporations, you can't have that separation between your food, which is good, and when you're in a hard time, it's hard. But I'll tell you, after about 3 months of not being able to collect a paycheck, my staff, I came to my attention that my staff had figured out personally, 40 of them, what they absolutely had to make and take home. And those were the hours they were clocking in for. And it didn't dawn on me. I started doing payroll, and I'm like, how did we just get, you know, and I realized that these people, they wanted it to survive so much that they did that to keep it open. And so I just think that, you know, they're employees and they're that kind of loyal. We got through that winter, and Clevelanders continue to come. They have the perception that we're this hugely successful restaurant, and, you know, you take some bumps and bruises. I don't think that people still want to have the luxury of going out and being taken care of. And I think especially when times are hard, they need that. They need the connection to their community. They need somebody to take care of them. And if you can offer them a fair price on some good quality food, they appreciate that. So
rock and roll.
We had one hard winter, and now we're good.
Well,
We're
it's
okay.
it's fascinating to hear that the troops rallied around the restaurant, because that's passion too on their part, right?
I literally, I mean, I'm so blessed by the people. I mean, people who work at my restaurant, I think in small restaurants especially, they're connected to working for an independent person. And again, connection to the food, but connection to the community, connection to the chef and their mission and their dream. And I couldn't be more blessed by who has chosen to work with me, be crazy with me. Yeah.
That's a great story.